While watching this video, chances are you should give thanks to a vital medieval invention. It was first mentioned in the 13th century and has been used by untold millions since that time. Welcome to the invention of eyeglasses. Humans are quite distinct in the animal kingdom for various reasons. Here is another of those rare characteristics. Even though we have 5 senses, vision appears to be our most important. Many other animals rely on their sense of smell to live in and understand their surroundings. Humans see with our eyes, while animals like dogs smell it, which is why millions of people worldwide still need the medieval invention of glasses in their everyday lives. After your initial shock that eyeglasses were a medieval invention, your mind asks questions about eyeglasses, which you never had before. Suddenly, they are not a common accessory worn by many around the globe, but an interesting object of sudden curiosity. I am glad you feel that way, because you are about to learn a lot more about this essential medieval invention. Hello everyone, my name is Craig, host of Medieval to Modern, where we feature often overlooked knowledge from civilization's medieval ages in an interesting yet compact manner. After presenting another fascinating episode of history, we will reveal the Medieval to Modern Top 8 of intriguing facts about eyeglasses. Thank you for joining us, and please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another informative episode. People living during medieval times wished to discover new ways for simplifying their existence, just like we do today. Though life during the Middle Ages was very harsh, dangerous, and riddled with daily obstacles. If this were not enough to challenge your will, imagine not being able to clearly see what you wish to accomplish. Before eyeglasses were introduced, people with weakening eyesight had to eventually give up reading, since there was no common cure for this condition. With no solutions to prove otherwise, it was commonly accepted that one's vision would become increasingly less useful as they aged. Fortunately, that did not stop the minds of the Middle Ages from seeking a solution to this widespread issue. Then, in the year 1268, Roger Bacon documented that a lens could be used to improve vision. Whether he later invented a form of eyeglasses to test out his theory cannot be confirmed, though in 1306, Friar Giordano de Pisa, a Dominican monk, mentioned wearable lenses in one of his sermons, noting they had already existed by that time for a few decades. Here, he states that fact in his own words. Start of quote. "It is not 20 years since there was discovered the art of making spectacles, which help one to see well, an art which is one of the best and most necessary in the world. I myself saw the man who discovered and practiced it, and I talked with him." End of quote. Friar Giordano de Pisa could have been referring to the year 1268 in the city of Venice at the time of this vital discovery. We know the first written mention of eyeglass usage was in a Florentine manuscript from 1289. Eyeglass production began in various Italian places like Venice, though by the early years of the 14th century, Florence became the place where this craft of producing eyeglasses took hold. These early designs were very simple compared to later creations, made with 2 pieces of glass or crystal stone. These pieces were then framed, often in animal bone or leather, with a handle holding it all together. Soon, an improvisation placed these lenses in an arched frame to grip on the nose. If this did not work, you still had to hold the object in place with your hands. If one could overcome these features, there was another restriction that could make these early versions of eyeglasses unwearable. They were only useful for far-sighted people. Nearsighted people would have to wait for a method which used concave lenses for overcoming this condition. That occurred around 1450, thanks to German clergyman and scientist Nicholas of Cusa. By the time of 1462, more fortunate people were requesting large amounts of eyeglasses for their immediate needs and others they favored. For example, we learned from a letter written by the Duke of Milan in 1462 that he ordered 3 dozen pairs of varying performance to suit his personal needs. Other dukes in Milan purchased eyeglasses as precious gifts for royal courtiers. We can appreciate the value of eyeglasses during medieval times from such grand gestures, though it was just the beginning of greater demand for eyeglasses. During the 15th and 16th centuries, with an increasing availability of printed materials like books and newspapers, many more people requested this innovative medieval object. Of course, eyeglasses from the Middle Ages were not made with the same materials we use today. For example, lenses were often crafted from natural crystal. The problem with this material was that your vision could still be somewhat blurry, since crystal lenses could not be made in a uniform fashion. A solution would not arrive until 1730. At that time, British inventor Chester Moore Hall would use 2 glass glass lenses together for making an achromatic lens. This improvement dramatically limited the effect of blurred vision from existing lens technology. By the 1600s, eyeglasses were held in place by a ribbon tied around one's head or attached to a stick, then covered by a hat or wig. With progress in eyeglass design, you would expect someone would create a way to keep them on your head securely without ribbons and sticks. At last, in 1727, modern-style eyeglass frames, which could be placed over the nose, and arms with ear hook loops were invented, offering a solution to these uncomfortable practices. Here was a practical solution which took centuries to arrive. We can thank British inventor Edward Scarlett for these temple spectacles, which used side pieces for stability. Decades later, Benjamin Franklin's invention of bifocal lenses in 1784 allowed a person with both near and far-sighted vision to use just one pair of glasses. Which brings us up to the question of access for eyeglasses in the medieval period. As with so many issues facing common people during the era of feudal systems, eyeglasses for everyone were not the reality. Most common people did not have the necessary means to purchase eyeglasses, which were a very expensive item. Those in the nobility, aristocrats, churchmen, and respected scholars were among the relatively few in medieval society possessing the wealth for purchasing eyeglasses. Therefore, these objects were regarded at that time as status symbols of high privilege and intelligence. While centuries moved forward, eyeglasses continued to be a symbol of wealth and knowledge until the 19th century. At that time, the Industrial Revolution helped to increase production of these vital objects, making them more affordable in those decades which followed. When the 20th century began, eyeglass manufacturing became a growing industry of its own. In the 1950s, eyeglasses became fashionable and greater varieties could be obtained, a trend which carries through to this day. Modern eyeglasses are comfortable, stylish, and made to meet many kinds of eye care needs. It was through constant innovation to suit various visual conditions that the eyeglass market became a global giant. Eyeglasses today are an amazingly diverse and enjoyable object which meet a wide range of requirements, from practical durability to fashionably chic. With all of these achievements, there are still serious socioeconomic challenges when we look at access to eyeglasses around this planet. Unfortunately, millions upon millions go without proper eye care because of cost, which is not a satisfactory condition in this prosperous 21st century. According to the World Economic Forum Eye-Alliance report of 2016, titled Eyeglasses for Global Development, Bridging the Visual Divide, we learn some disturbing statistics. Even today, large parts of the modern world's population live where access to eyeglasses is similar to the medieval period standards. In this important report, it was estimated that 2.5 billion people still live with poor vision because they do not have eyeglasses. Equally shocking is that a pair of eyeglasses would solve this issue for 230 million children. Now, let us highlight why this medieval invention is also crucial for our economic health. At the time of that report, our planet lost $227 billion each year from decreased productivity with adults who needed eyeglasses. This figure is a conservative estimate from a narrowly defined age group. Yet in 2015, only $37 million, or 2 cents per person affected, was spent to solve this world health issue. I too was left speechless after learning these facts. We can and must do better. In my view, continuing Middle Ages rates of access to proper eyeglasses is not an option for today's society. Which brings us to that time at which we will share the medieval to modern top 8 of intriguing facts about eyeglasses. As our viewers know, we believe knowledge is ageless as well as enjoyable. Now, we shall present them all for your learning pleasure. Number 1. During the 1930s, spectacles were described as medical appliances. Unlike today, people wearing spectacles often felt socially humiliated. This attitude changed by the 1970s when fashionable glasses became widely available through manufacturers. Number 2. It is estimated that 80% of people still living with poor vision worldwide because they do not have eyeglasses reside in developing countries. Number 3. Currently, over 1 billion people use this medieval invention, showing a direct modern influence from the Middle Ages, which we could not do without. Number 4. It has been estimated that more than 50% of residents in African institutions for the blind would be able to read large print with proper eyeglasses. Number 5. This is another interesting fact about eyeglasses. Today, most eyeglasses lenses are made of high-tech plastics, not glass. In addition, high-tech plastics are making modern glasses more protective for eyes because they are capable of blocking harmful UV rays. Number 6. Corrective lenses are the most popular type of glasses. Their main purpose is to deal with the issue of refractive errors. Number 7. The United States was the leading eyewear market globally in 2018. To put this into perspective, France is the second biggest market, though the French market would need to triple before equaling the American market by revenue. Number 8. Globally, the eyeglass market is estimated at $139.9 billion for the year 2020. By 2027, it is projected to reach a revised size of $197.2 billion, according to a recent ReportLinker.com article. Thank you for supporting us at Medieval to Modern. Please be sure to watch our next episode or one shown at the end of this video. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and spread the word about this channel so we can create more exciting content. I wish you good tidings as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.